Welcome to our online video training for ABM job costing. In this video, we will look at the basics of job costing. Job costing is about keeping track of costs for a given project so that you can report on it and/or invoice a customer. Transactions include labor, material, purchases, payments, and journals. Every job keeps track of work in progress. This is the costs that have been incurred but have not yet been invoiced. You can set up your job costing by cost center, which is a global category for transactions. You can also set up your automatic costing to be by job group or by cost centers. Cost centers would normally be used if you want divisionalized general ledger reports. Calculations are much trickier when using cost centers for posting into a job card, so my first suggestion would be to use job groups. Also on the screen is work types, and this is an additional option for transaction categorization. You can type in normal, extra, additional. Just below that, you can clear the work in progress invoice customer so that you do not have to write a journal into the job when clearing the work in progress. And you can set up a dummy internal customer account for these invoices if you do not want to see them on the job's customer account. Depending on your company options and how you set it up, if you've selected job groups, your automatic postings will be going to certain sales revenue accounts, certain purchase accounts, work in progress, balance sheets, product transfer, and so forth. You can also set up your markup percentage when creating a new job. These markups can be changed on individual jobs. You can decide what you want to call your groups. It might be leave, training, administration, or corporate, private, government. Or if you're in the building industry, building, roofing, fencing, labor rates, units of measure. So let's focus on it. Labor rate is always treated as hours in standard screens and reports. The cost rate is normally a nominal or an average rate including some overhead. Your charge rate is used if there is no markup percentage specified on the job. Staff. This is generally just a name and a normal labor rate. You can use staff for plant and equipment as it's normally charged the same way as labor. It can be handy to prefix the code with something to make it distinguishable on reports. Job setup. Let's look at it. Stages. Stages can be used to break up jobs. Parent-child jobs can be used for a further level of detail for large projects or where detailed reporting may be required. Often variations will be put against a specific stage or a sub-job in order to allow individual reporting and invoicing. Consider how you need to invoice. If the invoice needs to be broken down, the parent-child job may be the best way to go. Let's do an example. Let's create a job with the name My New House. In this job, we will create sub-jobs: demolition, foundation, framing, and roofing. In this sub-job foundations, we will create stages called boxing and pouring. Let's go to the financial tab. Here we can see contract value, and this is used by the invoicing programs in ABM. If there is a contract value specified, this will override the accumulated charge value of time and material. Invoice retention. This is used when invoicing the customer. The retention is calculated and deducted from the invoice total. Retentions on existing invoices have a due date and appear in the retention list. Retentions need to be invoiced out from there manually. Markups. If markups are specified on a job, then the charge value for time, material, purchases will be the cost plus the percentage markup, rather than using the charge rate or the price from the labor rate or product. Subcontractors. Subcontractors are subsets of suppliers. You need to set a supplier as is a subcontractor in the supplier list and when you open up the supplier. Subcontractors can then be added to specific jobs with a retention amount, discount, cost centers, and cost to complete. The ATO has taxable payment returns, and this looks at payments to suppliers marked as subcontractors. Estimates. Estimates can contain labor, material, purchases, and text. Actual costs are not specifically tracked against individual estimate lines. Hence, that's why we use reporting, stages, subjobs, cost centers, and work types. Estimates is useful for comparing estimates versus actuals and when invoicing. Creating purchase orders from estimates. You can click on the button Create Purchase Orders, and this only picks up the purchase items on the estimate, not materials. This is a quick way to create lots of purchase orders for quoted requirements. Let's generate a purchase order for the foundations job. Job costing transactions. Timesheets. This is a great way you can get a timesheet for a single person listing all the jobs they worked on. Costs and charges. For when you get a job sheet listing all of the time and material for a single job. Subcontractors. This is a specialized purchase invoicing process for when subcontractors send you cumulative invoices. And journals. Journals can be entered into a job through the journal entries in the account section, as well as through cash books. Job costing custom invoicing. You can do this through a standard custom invoice or through a project invoicing module. The standard custom invoice module is okay if you want to have a single line for the job with a total value. Project invoicing starts from the job rather than the customer. Customer and invoice header information is entered in step 1. Note the option to include subjobs if the selected job has any, and you can enter the percentage of cost or charges to invoice here. Project invoicing can include time and material charges, and this can be either based on the estimate or the actual charges. You can also include a claim for contractors within the job, as well as insert text and create subtotals. Time and materials can be picked up based undefined filters. This is very useful if invoices need to be laid out in standard sections. Filters can be based on the transaction date, type, cost center, stage, work type, and subjobs. A layout is then applied to organize or summarize the items. Groupings of up to 3 levels by type, by cost center, stage, and work type is possible. You can either summarize to a specific level or show individual transactions. You can also show individual transactions but summarize labor or similar products. If this is a filter that you will use frequently, your selections can be saved for use again later. You can add time and materials sections multiple times to an invoice. This is useful if you need different sections to show different levels of detail. A cost won't be picked up more than once, even if filters are not mutually exclusive. Claims. Claims are set up within project invoicing, but are then visible on the job. They can either be linked to a set of actual costs and charges, a specific estimate, or a manually entered breakdown. This is mostly used for apportioning revenue to the correct account when posting by cost center, but also just keeping track of the percentage of everything billed to date. You can drill down on lines to view the details that make them up. Individual details can then be adjusted or cancelled as needed. If we look at the advanced invoicing screen and we consider the details, we can see various columns in there. And the first one is quantity, and then the overall work in progress, previous work in progress, previous percentage work in progress invoiced, the new percentage work in progress invoiced, that's going to be invoiced in a percentage figure, the amount of new work in progress which you can change, the total contract amount, previous charges, previously invoiced being invoiced now again as a percentage, the new value exclusive, the GST codes, the tax amount, the inclusive amount, the cost center, the stage, the work type, and the unit charge. So quite a lot of columns which you can modify as you please. The last step is to process the invoice, step number 3. And here you choose whether to save it as a tax invoice or a pro forma invoice. Pro formas are useful when the client needs to review the invoice and sign off before it's actually finalized. Pro formas are saved in ABM as special quotes and can be reloaded and edited in project invoicing. Separate forms are also available for project invoices and pro formas, as opposed to the standard sales invoices and quotes. Well, there you go. I truly hope this was useful and will help you understand ABM job costing better. There are still many more advanced features to discuss, so please do not hesitate to contact me, Hanno, for any ABM or job costing related support.